Hi everyone, welcome to another LookdevX tutorial. The recent release of LookdevX 1.3 has introduced the MaterialX data model. In this tutorial, I'll use this dinosaur sofa chair as an example to walk you through the MaterialX workflow and show you some of the new UI features as well. The link to the scene files and textures is included in the description. Without further ado, let's get started. Here I have the Maya geometry of the dinosaur sofa. I'm going to create the material for it using the MaterialX data model. On this welcome screen, we see two options, USD and MaterialX, which are the two data models that we can use to author materials in LookdevX. Let's choose MaterialX. The text here shows that we've entered the MaterialX data model. To create a surface material, press Tab. I'm going to type standard surface and select the one with PBR in the parentheses, which is a MaterialX surface. Now we have the surface nodes in the graph editor. In the outliner, we see that it automatically creates a MaterialX stack and a MaterialX document. A MaterialX stack acts as a container for MaterialX documents, and each MaterialX document can store one or more materials. You can also create a MaterialX stack by clicking Create in the menu and select MaterialX stack. And here you can also create a MaterialX document by right-clicking and selecting Create MaterialX document. You can bring this document to the graph editor by right-clicking and selecting Show in LookdevX. Let's close this tab and delete the stack we just created because we only need the first stack for this tutorial. Before we create the textures, let's assign the material to the geometry. In MaterialX data model, you can assign materials directly to Maya geometry. Simply select the geometry, hover your mouse over the surface material node, right-click, and select Assign Material to Selection. Now in the viewport, we see the material. The MaterialX data model features the real-time display of the textures. You don't need to render it. You'll always see the texture as you work, which is very convenient. Just now we assigned the material from the graph editor. Alternatively, we can assign the material from the outliner. Just select the geometry as before, and in the outliner, hover your mouse over Surface Material, right-click, and select Assign Material to Selection. Now we're ready to create the texture for the sofa. For the surface material, all we need to provide are the base color, the specular roughness, and the normal. The base color is created from overlaying two images, one for the color, the other for the signs of aging. Let's see how to create it in the graph editor. First, I'm going to get the Image Texture 2D node for the base color. In the Parameters panel, load the texture image of the base color for the sofa. Let's also get a color correct node so that you can adjust the colors later to your liking. In LookdevX 1.3, the tab menu has been updated. For every node, it now displays the name of the library from which the node is sourced. You can easily identify and select nodes based on their specific libraries. For example, in this case, I'm going to select the color correct node from the standard library of MaterialX. Connect the base color image to the input here, and the output to the port base color of the standard surface node. Now in the viewport, we see the colors. To overlay this base image with a wear and tear pattern, I'm going to use the tiled image node to load the texture. And then use overlay to mix the two images. Connect the tiled image to foreground and the base image to background. Here, let's decrease the mix value to make the signs of aging more subtle. Now connect the output to base color, and we see the pattern. We can solo this tiled image node to view the pattern by itself. The soloing feature helps speed up the workflow and allows efficient troubleshooting. Here I'm going to increase the values for the UV tiling to scale up the pattern. That's the base color. Now let's set up the specular roughness. I'm going to copy and paste this image node. Load the image for the specular roughness. Change the node type to float. And connect the output to specular roughness. Similarly, we can set up the normal vectors by copying and pasting this image node, loading the image for the normal, and changing the node type to vector 3. We also need to use the normal map from the standard library to transform the normal vectors from the tangent space into the world space. Connect the output to normal, and we see the bumps of the texture in the viewport. If we solo the normal map, we can view the color display of the normal. That's how we create the texture. This release also introduces a new toolbar that provides easy access to frequently used actions. For example, we can collapse all nodes, partially expand all nodes, and fully expand all nodes. Another new feature is to promote attributes to the input or output node. To demo that, I'm going to create a compound from all these nodes and name it Dinosaur Shader. Go inside the compound. Let's say I want to promote the hue attribute to 1 level up. All I need to do is to hover the mouse over the attribute, right-click, and select Promote Port. This automatically connects the hue attribute to the input node. Let's do the same for the saturation. If we go 1 level up, we can adjust the hue and saturation values here in the Parameters panel. Now we have finished creating this material. I'm going to rename the MaterialX document to Dinosaur Surface 1. In addition to creating a MaterialX document, you can also import an existing document by hovering your mouse over the MaterialX stack, right-clicking, and selecting Import MaterialX Document. Here I've prepared another document for an alternative look of the dinosaur sofa. I'm going to select this one and import. Now we see the document Dinosaur Surface 2 in the outliner. As we learned earlier, we can assign this material directly to the geometry by right-clicking and selecting Assign Material to Selection. And now we see the pink dinosaur in the viewport. To open it in the graph editor, we can use the first icon in the toolbar. To demo that, I'm going to open a new graph. Here, if you right-click, you'll see two options, New USD Graph and New MaterialX Graph. For our purpose, we should choose New MaterialX Graph. To open one or more materials in the graph editor, simply select the material or the material document and click this Graph from Selected Materials icon. We can also quickly clear a graph using this Clear Graph icon, and everything disappears from this graph. I'm gonna bring it back using the first icon. In this toolbar, there's also a Clear Solo for All icon, which is very convenient when you have solos in different graphs and want to clear all of them at once. To demo that, I'm gonna duplicate the dinosaur geometry and assign the first material to the duplicate. Let's solo the wear and tear pattern for the pink dinosaur. And the normal map for the green one. Now if I hit this icon, all the solos got cleared. Earlier I showed how to import a MaterialX document. We can also export MaterialX documents. To export all the documents in a stack, right-click at the stack, select Export Documents in MaterialX Stack, and specify where you want to store the documents. I'm going to create a new folder for these documents. Click Export, and both documents are exported to the folder that I just created. You can also export a specific MaterialX document. Just select the document, right-click, and select Export MaterialX Document. Now we've finished this exercise. I'm going to do a quick render so that you can see that the display in the viewport is consistent with the rendered image. That's it for today. I encourage you to try this new native MaterialX Maya implementation and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.